Welcome to the Totally Honest Cooking Show. I'm Mark. Today we are doing a Thai-style jok, a rice porridge with pork meatballs. I wasn't going to return to the wok by J. Kenji Lopez all this soon. Some person from Reddit is doing all the recipes from this, and I saw their picture of this recipe and I decided I needed that. The actual recipe seems pretty straightforward, but there's a lot of sides and a lot of extras that you can do, and I'm going to try to do those while I'm making the recipe, so we'll see how that works. We're going to start by frying some shallots, and we've got our peeled shallots here. We're going to slice them on a mandolin slicer about 1/16 of an inch, and the notes say that this should be about the thickness of 2 credit cards stacked on top of each other. So once you've got your mandolin set to the right height, you're just going to go ahead and slice these bad boys up. So I've got a pound of shallots here. I've got 2 cups of vegetable oil. I've got a fine mesh strainer in a heat-proof bowl. And I've got a baking sheet with 6 layers of paper towels. That's what he says you need to do in order to do this properly. You're also going to start this cold because apparently doing that will cause it to cook more evenly. Once all that's in there, we're going to turn it up to medium-high. And we're letting this heat for like 10 to 12 minutes. The reason we're doing this part of the cooking process first is because the actual porridge itself will be made in the wok, and getting the frying done first allows us to get that done. All of the other side dishes can be done while the porridge is porridging or cooking. Cooking? Jerkins, cut that. You're trying to stir these the entire time because it promotes even cooking, and if you walk away, you may find that the ones on the outside get browner. You should notice as you're cooking these that they are sizzling quite a bit as they cook. That's probably, if I were to guess, the water releasing. As they finish, the sizzling should reduce because the water will be mostly evaporated. I think that's how that works. This is about 7 minutes of stirring so far. We're at about the 10-minute mark now. They're starting to brown a little bit. You probably can't see it on the camera. Okay, it's been 12 or 13 minutes and you can definitely see the browning now. As soon as everybody looks a pale golden, we're going to pour it off. I think I've done this correctly, but it's hard to tell. I might have overcooked these a smidge. When it comes to frying, don't chase the dragon. Okay, we're pouring it out onto the paper towels in one layer. Then it says we're immediately transferring it by rolling to the next layer. And then we're gonna, get it clean and daub. This is supposed to be all in one layer, but you know, time seems to have made a fool of me. Then we're doing it again, and so on until it's done. I overcooked these just a little bit. They're a little darker than they should be. You want it golden, not browned. That's a whoopsie doodle, and that's okay. They'll still be good. Okay, now we're going to sprinkle them with a big pinch of salt. Okay, now we're preparing a stalk of lemongrass. You're taking the whole stalk, you're cutting it, cutting off the bottom, and we're using the part in the middle. We're also going to cut the outside off. And then we're going to bash it. Think of this like a bay leaf sort of situation. So we've got half a cup of jasmine rice that I've washed. 5 cups of chicken broth. We're throwing in our lemongrass. And we're bringing this to a simmer over high heat. We're also going to throw in half a teaspoon of freshly ground white pepper. You can probably use black pepper for this. I assume we're using white pepper because that way you're not going to end up with a lot of speckles in your rice. Then it says fish sauce to taste. So I'm just gonna 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Give it a little mix. All of these next things are optional while we wait for that. I went light with the fish sauce in the porridge because we're making a couple add-ins that use fish sauce. My porridge started to simmer, so we're reducing it to a bare simmer. And we're gonna come back over here. I've got 20 bird's eye chilies and 4 medium cloves of garlic in a mortar and pestle. I tried this a second ago in a food processor. I just wound up liquefying everything and getting pepper juice all over the kitchen and myself. By the way, once you're done with this, wash your hands thoroughly. You don't want to go into a bathroom and touch your eyes or anything else when your hands have pepper juice on them. Wash them very thoroughly or wear gloves. So we're going to start by crushing these. Now we're adding palm sugar, about 2 tablespoons. I had a hard time with this in the food processor because it is really tough. Sitting in the chilies will help this break down a little bit. Now here the directions say smash it until it turns into a fine paste, which I don't know if there are different types of mortars and pestles. I assume there are. I don't notice that this is really grinding at all. I notice that this is smashing, but it's not really pastifying as much as it is just kind of here. I'm gonna have to call this close enough for government work. We're adding half a cup of fish sauce to that. And we're mixing it. Then we're going to transfer it to our airtight container. Theoretically, if we did this right, you could store it for a few months in the fridge. You are going to want to serve this with slices of lime juice. And what you're going to do is you're going to put this in there. And you're going to add some lime. Mix it about. And then you're going to use it from there. The reason you're going to do that is that it stores longer if it's separated. For our next accompaniment, we have half a cup of boiling water in a jar, half a cup of sliced bird's eye chilies, half a cup of distilled vinegar, and a few cloves of garlic. The instructions say that this can be stored in a cool pantry indefinitely. I would assume that the liquid gets more potent over time, but I don't know. I'm just a man with a recipe. This will inevitably get too thick. Thin it out with water or stock if you have any left. I didn't. I've still got a half-hour cook time. So boiling the water away was not what I wanted. It's come to my attention that the stuff in the jar needs a tablespoon of sugar. Okay, it's time to make our pork meatballs. I've got 8 ounces of ground pork here. I've got 1/4 a teaspoon ground white pepper, half a teaspoon of kosher salt, 1 tablespoon of sugar, 2 minced cloves of garlic, 1 teaspoon of fish sauce, and 1 tablespoon of soy sauce. And this is all just going in there. And we're going to mix it up with our hands until it's sticky. You will notice that it comes together pretty quickly. Using wet hands, you're going to take little teaspoon-sized chunks. You're going to drop them in as you go. Don't be a perfectionist. If you try to be a perfectionist, it's too sticky to be a perfectionist. Okay, give this a stir. Remember how I said to think of this as a bay leaf? Take that out. Your lemongrass is out. Give this a stir. You're letting the pork cook. Okay, now we're adding our spinach. This is 2 cups of chopped spinach. We're gonna let these wilt. This will take about 3 minutes, and then we're ready to serve. Okay, looks ready. We're gonna kill the heat. I'm taking a ladle full of this, putting it right in my bowl. And now for our surprise, we're dropping a raw egg right into it. And then we're covering it with more of our soup, which will cause it to cook. We're going to put in some of our cilantro, some of our fried scallions, some of our fried shallots, rather. This smells deadly, so I'm going to take a taste first. Don't take a lot of that. Wow. A little bit of that. Not a lot. And a little bit of our spicy. Okay. Good enough, right? Squeeze the lime on top. Remember I say you gotta serve it with the lime. You're gonna let this rest for a few minutes so that the egg has a chance to cook. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. It's spicy. Not for the faint of heart, but it's delicious. And the spice really amplifies the pork. Okay, that took about 2 hours on a Monday night. Not what I set out for, but it's worth the time and the effort. Like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, let me know what you think, and I'll see you next Wednesday. Bye.